Peace. All things follow this truth that I am. Ponder and consider this. Reflect upon this, meditate upon this. Let this live within you. Have a humbleness before this. Have an account of yourself. All things follow this truth that I am. You know, I've spent many days wondering and reflecting upon my own being and coming to verifiable truth of this, of my own nature, a divine nature of consequence, that everything that I am and all things will follow after me. If so, it is important. It is sacred. It is important. It is sacred that you come to a knowledge of your own being, that you have presence for yourself as you go through this process of awakening to your own being, these things of yourself that you have been asleep to, these shadows, and what hides within them, the parts of ourselves that we would rather leave to a neglect, that we would rather not be. We must have a presence for these things. We must have this knowledge of ourselves. We must make this a sacred process of our own being, that we are present and that we are here and that we are observant of ourselves. Why am I doing this? Why am I not doing this? What has caused this feeling to arise in me? Where has this come from? What is the story? What is the teaching? What am I learning? And what is seeking an influence of me? To have an understanding, to sit and watch and witness even of our own nature as human life. Sit and watch and witness. Pay attention to the others. Pay attention to yourself as you observe these others. And watch as human beings, blessed, sacred human life, in all of its goodness and all of its wicked capabilities as well. Watch as others seek influence over each other. And if you can sit and witness enough of it, if you can observe from a higher point of view, a higher perspective of your own being, you can witness and you can see that as human beings are seeking this influence over each other, in doing so, there is an unconscious piece of themselves that is being directed through these experiences to seek to act out upon another in this way. There's a part of themselves that they're not aware of that is taking an action or influencing upon the awake state. That you may dictate to another your reality. It is an insecurity in this way. It is a reactive type of being. And as you observe it, as you watch it, you can see the way the spirits will move through people. Everything wicked, everything good, any angel, any demon, every beneficial spirit or spirit that would seek a harm upon you for its own gratification in experiencing through you. They will seek and access through you in these parts of yourself that you do not know. And will you grant them this? And believe it of yourself to be your own will that is directing these desires of control. And it is a very special thing. It is a very special thing to have nothing, and to seek nothing, but that you have of your own, that you are fulfilled here, that you are a command of your own being, of your own spirit, in the highest and most divine truth in this command of your own spirit. You command all others. It is in this way. It is in this way, beyond a desire to control others. Whenever you have abandoned that, whenever you have let that go, whenever you had an acceptance of yourself and of others, whenever you will give presence and observation of all others, whenever you have compassion and you understand beyond understanding, whenever you have compassion, you decide you will go through it with them in command of your own being, and that this is enough, that you are fulfilled here, that this is enough, that you have this wealth of your own being, that this is enough, that I have command over my own being. Whenever you have this, whenever you've become awake to the parts of yourself that any other spirit, any other man, angel, deity, demon, friendly spirit, harmful one, anything you can conceive in that way. Whenever you have come awake to the parts of yourself that were hidden, that would be sought to use against you, to garner consent. You see, this is how it works, to garner consent in the place you are asleep. Whenever you are awake here, you are the commanding voice now. You are the commanding presence. Whenever you have decided upon your own self that this is enough, that I have command of my own being, that I am king here, the devil walks in the room. Alone in the room you sit. The devil walks into this room. Who is king here? I will answer. You can accept the higher witnessing of your being, the higher witnessing of your being, that you are a servant to this highest truth and revealed good nature of God, of mercy, and that all of this is a proof and a truth and a revealed nature and process of your own deliverance that you have been gifted. You will understand that there is no purpose for fear here. If the devil has entered a room, here I sit. God has allowed this for a purpose of my own revealed and higher developed nature. Alone in a room, the devil walks in. Who is king here? I will answer. And you you go through this process, and there will come a day as you go through this process, there will come a day whenever you question if there is a desire for you in this world. You will question if there is anything of this world that you would care to have. And the question itself serves a purpose. It gives you an opportunity and a moment to rest and remember. That you have come here for this. Not that you would attain of this world. That you have come here for this. Not that you would attain of this world, but that you will have heaven. That you will have God's presence upon you. And that you will determine of your own nature that you may have this. That this is your capability. That this is your nature. And that nothing need to be done, but that you be all that you are. Then truth will follow you. And any harm done to you, there is a hidden benefit. There is a blessing being granted. If you are capable of receiving and witnessing of yourself in this way, that you overcome all things. And that as you overcome all things, you inherit here now, beyond this world, all that there ever has been and all that there ever could be here and now. You inherit all things, and as you inherit all things, as you overcome all things, all that this is meant, all that this does mean, is that you are the commanding purpose and principle of your own being, and that you freely will bow only to God, only to nature, only to truth, and that these things become as you are, that reveal themselves upon you as you reveal yourself upon your own nature, as you determine of your own being. The being of God is revealed and determined upon you. This is why something such as prayer is such a powerful and beautiful and prevalent thing among all peoples of faith. As in its practice, there is a revealed nature of your being and of God's determined nature and revelation upon your being. That as you determine of yourself through prayer, yourself is revealed through prayer. What are you asking for? What are you seeking? What are you grateful in? What are you thankful for? And where are you giving these things? Where are you receiving these things? Where does it come from? As you go through this practice, this observance, this invitation of something more that I am not removed from, that I may speak, be heard and answered, and delivered here in faith. And it works. It works as you do, and that means more than what your hands can do. It's the entirety of your being, a work of earth and heaven. God has perfectly crafted you. And in God's perfect design of you, let us reflect, let us wonder, what are these desires? What are these desires that I have found within my being? Where have they come from? What story do they tell? It is a clever thing, the way all of it works, you see, because God has a perfect knowledge of you. God has a perfect knowledge of all of God's creations. And God knows what you will do and what you will choose and what will be good and right for you. And still, you will be allowed a free will to determine of your own being. And so God will do such a thing as placing desire in your heart. God will call you out to adventure. God will place a vision in your mind's eye, desire in your heart, and fill you with purpose. Simply that you may open the door and walk out into the world. And your destination may be so far removed from what brought you out of that door. Reflect upon that in your own life, the times you have had desire, envision such a thing for yourself, and sought that it be done, and find yourself delivered entirely in a wholly different way to something that is far more beautiful than you could ever conceive of yourself. Because in God's eyes, and in the truth that God's eyes are, you are so much more than you can know as a human being. And that is so much part of the beauty of being a human being, is that you are more than you can know. You are more than you can conceive, and you can conceive of so much. You can believe of so much. You can attain of so much simply through a will and a determined action of your being. And still, you are more than you can ever conceive or believe that you are. That is truly part of the beauty and perfect design in God's creation that a human being is. That we are allowed this journey, all of us, from atom to end. That we can take this journey, this grand adventure, and we can witness of ourselves, the God that lives within us, that we can witness this, that we can battle as men, we can conquer things that are beyond this world, this earth. I'm such a man as to believe of myself that God will craft the devil specifically for me, that I may have something to wrestle with. And it is humbly, just to sit and watch and witness of your own being. This unfolding process, it is entirely undeniable that there is a path before you, that you are going somewhere. It is entirely undeniable. Even if you were to attempt to deny it, that is the next step in your path. And in that way, considering desire, it is just the same. It is a refinement of being. what you gain and what you lose in desire. It is a refinement of being. It is a bit of a process of chipping away what is false and determining what is true, being allowed to find out what is true. What are you? In all things follow this truth, that I am. In the world a mirror. Beautiful love and truth. Glory, grace, strength, thanks. I'm grateful, God, that you are courage, strength, protection. I'm with you. Peace.